Well, another case that's happening in Atlanta right now is a rapper named Babydrill.
Yeah.
AKA, real name
Delquiristo Wilson.
Delquiristo Wilson. Right.
Man, that's weird. That whole case is strange. Before we get into that, I just want to say that I have been unable to get all the documents I want on this case because the Fulton County court system has a website that is screwed up and has been for years. And the only way to get stuff is to physically show up and stand in a tiny little room in the back of the courthouse pulling documents. Amazingly frustrating. And it's frustrated me with this case, which is why people don't fully understand what's going on with Babydrill.
Well, according to reports, 2 people were killed on April 8th, Quantavious Harris and Grady Scott. Babydrill is accused of killing Grady Scott.
Correct.
And he was denied bond in this particular case. Since then, there was an unreleased music video that was posted on YouTube 10 weeks after the Harris murder, which basically there's a whole lot of stuff in there that doesn't make Babydrill look all that good.
Right.
Some of the lyrics are N-words thought this shit was sweet, shot his ass, asked Daffy.
Right. So it's crazy. So there's another rapper, small time rapper, Hard-Bodied Daffy, who was murdered. And I believe he was the other person who was he's not Scott, he's the other guy. Babydrill is not accused of killing Hard-Bodied Daffy. But it's interesting that there appears to be a connection in the case that I was not immediately aware of because I couldn't get at the documents until yesterday. There is a stay away order in his incarceration documents that requires him to be separated from 2 other people who are accused of murder and gang charges. And I believe one of them is accused of murdering Hard-Bodied Daffy. There's a bunch of stuff that's mixed up here. He's not accused of killing Hard-Bodied Daffy, but I think there may actually be a connection there. And I'll know more once I get the full case file after I sue someone at this point.
Well, yeah. I mean, in Babydrill's music, he said, "Caught my first body when I was 18." On a song called "Done Sane."
Right. That was with Young Nudie, I believe. And Young Nudie had a different line where he was saying, "Almost caught my first body when I was 17," or something like that. People wanted to link Babydrill to a different murder. And that's the Lil Marlo murder.
Right. And Lil Marlo was a very close friend of Lil Baby.
Yeah. And I don't actually think that any of this has anything to do with that. If it does, I'd be surprised. It would be a hell of a coincidence, if nothing else. There was a lot going on with the Lil Marlo thing. Lil Marlo's brother was accused of a murder in Brookhaven. And that murder case went bad. And by went bad, I mean prosecutors had to drop the case mid-trial, which never, ever happens. The judge said, "You're done. Case dismissed. You're free to go." To 2 guys that they believed they had enough evidence to convict. The problem is, their 2 witnesses disappeared on them, and they're gone. And I think the prosecutors believe they went off to California. They didn't want anything to do with this. So Marlo's brother gets off scot-free of a murder that was gang related, and it makes you start to ask whether or not Marlo's murder was retaliation for this other guy not going to jail or being punished for a murder. And this is what I'm talking about when I say that the district attorneys of Metro Atlanta, they see all of this stuff and they can kind of connect the dots. The prosecutors talk to them Like their interest is in stopping a chain of retaliations from expanding. Because every death, and I've said this before, I said this last time, like every death creates a hole in a community that doesn't get filled. Like there's no coming back from it, and there's no redemption arc for whoever gets killed, no matter how terrible a person you think they are. You can't tell me in 2 or 5 or 10 years they're not leading, like relief missions in Central Africa or quashing other gang beef or otherwise doing great and good things. Everybody deserves justice. Everybody deserves justice. The people who you're trying to keep from being killed deserve justice. The people who are in your jails deserve justice. And I think that's the thing that we should be screaming for at this. Not free my guy. I hate it when I see that. I know how common it is. I know everybody says, free my, friend Rollo, for example. I just want justice. If justice means that person should be free, that person should be free. If justice means that person should be in jail, that person should be in jail. But that's the thing. Look for justice.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about Lil Marlo. Lil Baby had a documentary that aired on Amazon recently.
Yeah.
And he talked about that whole situation. Him and Marlo were really close, and they kind of, joined Quality Control right around the same time and started rapping right around the same time. Lil Baby took off, but Marlo, his career never really took off. And they talked about it. I think P from Quality Control was saying how, since Marlo's career wasn't taking off, he was still in the streets. He was still doing street shit, and he got killed. I did an interview with this artist named Bankroll Freddie, and he talked about how he was in the studio with Lil Baby when they found out that Lil Marlo got killed. And it was just kind of a tragic kind of thing where, these guys are seeing their peers blow up in the music industry, start making millions of dollars, hit songs and so forth, and they're not getting that type of traction in their music, but they're trying to keep up with their friends who are making millions of dollars in legal money. So they sometimes start to do illegal stuff to get the jewelry and get the cars and get the clothes, and which ultimately leads to either death or prison.
I wish I knew how to nip that in the bud. Just look back at the industry. When I see this stuff, the industry could do something to get in between all of this. They could stop signing folks who are begging. If the industry had a social conscience, it would start looking at these problems in the same ways that you and I are. But who is to say what Marlo would have been today?
Yeah.
People don't always hit on the first or second try. Sometimes you get it. You learn and you grow and you hear things, and maybe he would have made some shift. And you and I could only speculate. And he'd be Lil Baby right now. This is the price of murder.
Yeah.
I'm going to be starting a podcast at some point in the next 6 months. And it's basically looking at this connection between street crime and the music industry. It's YSL, but it's more than that. I really want to ask this big question about how much of this is real and how much of it has to be real.